creepy, you're so crazy. I can't help but to think that you're.
How'd you first get into music?
My house used to be like the place in high school where kids would like come and smoke a bunch of weed, and they always had instruments, and I was always around music. Like I was going to punk shows before them, but I wasn't playing anything, and they just kind of. I always wanted to be a part of it, and I started like doing the frontman thing in like a high school band. But I still wanted to do just like punk shit. They were more like alternative stuff, and maybe when I was like 17, 18, I started like branching out and like being like, all right, I'm gonna like play in bands with the music that I really like to listen to, and then it just kind of took off from there. But yeah, like high school era is when I started like actively playing music. Middle school era is when I started like actively going into like punk shows and stuff.
Word. Was the anti-sheeple movement your first musical project you chose to pursue on your own music?
Not. I mean, it was my baby. It was definitely like my favorite project that I ever did, but it wasn't the first one. Like I had a couple punk bands in high school. Me and my cousin, when we were really young, we were starting like like 13-year-olds screaming in the mic, playing in drop D, calling it a punk band type shit. But TASM, I think, was the one that I got like really really serious about. Um, but yeah, that was definitely the one where I was like, all right, I'm putting like all the chips into this.
Word, and it's some great stuff. It's some great stuff.
Thanks, man.
It's too late, we're gonna die. Naked in our coffins and stripped of rights. Humanity sets its all on me. I hope we all burn as we sleep. Everything we've accomplished will inevitably not mean shit. Well, at least I had a plan. Dying in this disaster.
Right in 2015, you released your first kill the sheep.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. Tell me about that. I fucking loved that the first time I heard it. First time I heard
Hell yeah.
it, Angie hopped up on my live stream and was like, "Hey, play some anti-sheeple movement," and
Hell yeah,
and that
dude.
and it fucking and I loved it, so I had to investigate more.
Oh man, all right, so it's kind of a long story, but like I was working at Radio Shack, so we'll date that. That's dated, all right. I was at Radio Shack, and it was like going under hard. I was like listening to so much like in LA we have a lot of ska and shit, and I was listening to lots of ska and lots of hip hop. And my cousin who got me into punk rock, she went to college in Kalamazoo, in Michigan. And she was like, you gotta listen to this like folk punk band, fucking Wingnut Dishwashers Union and all this shit. So I had this like blend in my head that I was just like constantly listening to these music. And when Radio Shack was going under, like I wasn't doing shit. No one was coming in. So I was just pulling receipt paper out and like taking notes down. Like, I want my band to represent this. I want like these kinds of instruments. I want these kinds of genres. I want us to talk about this kind of shit. Um, and like somewhere around here I still have it, but like I was just like printing shit, using the fuck out of all the Radio Shack's equipment. I stole their microphone, and like I like got a computer from them right before they went under for dirt cheap. And I remember I came home one day, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna fucking start writing music. So I come home and I like set everything up, and I start recording. I'm using Audacity at the time, which is like the shittiest job, but I'm like,
I
I'm
still
using
use
Audacity off
Audacity.
this with this shitty $20 microphone that I stole from Radio Shack. And I hit record, and I start playing just the C, E, A minor, F thing. And I start singing the lyrics. I just improvised all the lyrics to Nailbiter's Anthem. And I was like, sick, that was super dope. Let me listen back to it. And I pressed play back. And I realized after I pressed playback, it sounded like dog shit. It was because I never actually plugged in the microphone. It was just recording from the base audio laptop. So that's why if you listen to that recording at the beginning, it sounds really shitty. But I was like, this is so good. I need to re-record it and make it sound better. So then I recorded it on top of it. And that's why there's that transition of really shitty audio quality to like when it's actually like me using the microphone.
Yeah, the Radio Shack brand realistic microphone.
Yep, thanks, Radio Shack. We do it together.
Made all the rent, Pop up my seat, rapping from the HLP. Yellow hipsters, blazing dumpsters. Go back to your coffee shops. I want yellows on my block.
Released was a full-on album of the Ballad of Bob Sheeple.
Yeah, so this is when we finally were like RPs, because Kill the Sheep was just me and Poncho. And when this album released, was like we released that, we played shows, and like that's when we first met Angel. And we walked like the first album has so many instruments, but it's just me and one other dude, aside from that guitar solo and Stress, which is the homegirl Vicky who shreds. But the rest of the album was just me and Poncho. And we were like, dude, how the fuck are we gonna play all of this shit live? And we started playing the folk punk shows in LA, and that's when we met Angel and Leo. Leo we had known for a while. I mean, me and Poncho in high school, we've known each other for fucking years. But we started going to the Valley of Folk Punk shows and met Angel and his old band, Freefall to Freedom, which we thought was fucking dope, you know. And after that, like we met at a show one time and we were like, dude, like do you want to come and like jam with us and play like bass for us? And he was like, I don't know how to play bass. And we're like, it's all good, like that's fine. And came through and we like showed him a little bit because he played guitar in his old band. We showed him like a little bit of bass and he just fucking took it and ran, bro. Like ended up writing some of the sickest bass licks I've ever fucking heard. Like that album specifically, the Bob's the fucking Alcoholics, he just went off. He just went off. And we were like, I remember sitting there with him recording it, and like Angel was the person to be like, no, dude, it's not good enough. Like it's not good enough. And he was just like, he needed to get it perfect, and he fucking did, dude. He won't admit it. I know that motherfucker. He'll be like, nah, dude, I could have done better. But I'm like, no, dude, that shit literally slaps.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, I talked to that dude several times, and he never brought up his previous band when I was asking him about all his projects.
Yeah, all right. Well, maybe not. Maybe let's cut that part out too. I don't know how he feels about me bringing it up, but that's how I met him, through another band.
Word.
But yeah, we've been tight since. You know, he would drive all the way from Simi Valley to Highland Park like once a week, which is a bitch of a drive, just to come practice and jam and have a couple brewskis with the boys.
Word. But yeah, that was a great fucking release.
We're ready to dip. Started taking off and the van took a shit. So we went out to the shop just to go check it out. We couldn't believe what they were talking about. The brakes are shot, the alignment's fucked, the tires are bald, and now we're stuck. We gotta find a new plan, do it as fast as we can. So we're crying out for help just to have some.
Later that year, you released Help Us Get a Fucking Van. Did that help you get a fucking van?
It actually did. It actually did. So our van, we went on a tour right before that. We came back and it was Angel's van too. And like we like fucked it up like $4,000 worth of damages, and he was like, we are never taking my van on tour again. And I'm like, okay, well we're gonna need to get a fucking van if we're gonna want to like travel and keep doing this. So we made the GoFundMe and we made a music video, and a couple people donated some money, but our homie Aiden from Arizona used to go to high school with Poncho. He was they're like best friends. He just dropped like $500 in the account, like nothing. And we are like, what the fuck? He's like, yeah, dude, like I want to see you guys like keep on going. And so we like pulled that money together. We ended up having like $800 and bought this really shitty green Astro van that had like 50 Mother Mary stickers on the inside of it and a big sticker on the side that just said Jimenez on it. Didn't have mirrors. The seat lock didn't work, so you were constantly bouncing. But we drove that motherfucker with like 9 kids in it all the way to the res one time, so it did its job, you know.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Right. So Help Us Get a Fucking Van did help you get a fucking van. Great.
It did.
I'm glad that the outcome came, because I had a little anxiety reading that, and I was like, what if they didn't get a fucking van? Maybe you don't want me to bring that up, you know? But no, you got a fucking van. You got a van. And I'm glad.
We did. We had a van. Rocked it for like 3 years. It was great.
Yo, damn, my rusty bro. Turn away from me again. They think that I don't know. They gave you a new name. You'll never be the same. I see the look in your eye. That's why I cry. No day, you're all she has. Can't take it from me. No day, you're all she has. Can't take it from me.
Folk Rock Steady. That's a fucking great tribute album. That was a fucking great tribute album.
Thanks, man.
I really loved the the cover of Night Gaunt's cover of Stupid
Yes,
Stupid
man.
Henchmen. Yeah, it was
I
fucking
like, yeah,
wonderful.
dude. It was a lot of fun doing that one because like we wanted to make it clear like the kind of punk was that crack rock steady influence shit. So we wanted to like pay tribute to all of those bands and like I made sure to message all those people individually from those bands or at least a member from them to be like, yo, can we cover these songs for a tribute album? And everybody gave us their blessings or whatever. It was awesome, but that was probably the most work we had like actually think done on an album. Like I was like, we got to record at my house like 3 days out of the week, pushing, and I think that's probably my favorite one to listen to. But I think it's just because I like really appreciate how hard we like worked on that one. Um, but yeah, dude, we had a lot of fun bouncing between a lot of these songs and just picking the ones that we thought would kind of represent a good timeline of kind of how this music shit happened to like where all these like crack rock city bands are popping up now. Like I don't know if you were ever on the internet in like 2000, let's say 10, and ever been to like some angry ska.blogspot dot something website.
No,
It's this
no, but
crazy.
I hear about this legendary blog spot all the time. Chris from Big Brother is constantly like, "Oh, this blog spot, I got so much information from it." And
Yeah, dude, it
and I and
literally
I
like sent me down.
and fucking I think it was Raz from Annie Venom was telling me all about it, right? But like no, I did not. At that point in time I was in St. James, just started my relationship with my wife, who I'm still with right now, was
Oh
isolated
yeah.
in the middle of nowhere, working all the time. I still do.
Mhm.
I still work all the time.
Yeah, and that's how it goes. That's how she rolls, dude. No, but that website definitely was like send me down a rabbit hole of finding out more bands because before that it was just like and all like that those bands specifically all like kind of related to each other in some kind of scratch like going down this pipeline of shit and we were like, well, here we are, let's go next. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. And it was fucking like No Cash had such a fucking huge influence on me back in the day. Let's see, I got that album around 2005, I want to say, and rock that. I still listen to that goddamn album.
yeah, I probably listened to a Better Tomorrow yesterday. Like
Yeah,
it's no, it's never it's a timeless album and probably always going to be my favorite
you
punk rock
guys are
album.
crazy. Normal people don't act that way. Right, like
Yeah,
that shit plays. It's still on my playlist too. Like anytime
yeah,
I hear the Goonies, I have to continue on with
fucking
with the
hey
intro.
you
Yeah,
guys,
yeah,
yeah, you know
with
what
the
I'm
intro
talking
to
about,
that
dude.
song, as
I see
opposed to
this
what's
shit, bro.
going on in the movie. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and that fucking that the pre-Infinite Alliance cover, like fucking
Yeah,
makes me wonder. I fucking love that shit.
dude, that was the one. That was the first song I had ever heard from the Henchmen, and I was like, this is my new favorite everything. And like also one of those bands that like it was great like just kind of experiencing like being like a kid in high school and listening to that shit and then like being an adult in my like early 20s and then like being at a show and having Chet being like tapping my shoulder like, hey, are you Popper? I really love your music. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like it was mind blowing. um
That's fucking
but
crazy.
yeah, dude, crazy fucking world. And I think a lot of it came from that album. Like Chet's one of my Chet and TC, like that man, those are my boys. I love them to fucking death. And I fucking they made a huge impact on my life, whether I had met them or not.
Yeah, yeah. They're fucking cool as fuck. I talk to them all the time.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I've been sacrificed to every shitty thought in my head. The battle's been remembering what was wrong with what I said. I'm moving out, selling all my stuff to readers. Maybe I should think twice before I miss you love again. But my mind is out, gotta keep repeating what's semantics. Protecting against your plans, got me acting fucking frantic. About to ignite, conflicting everything up. I'm paranoid, I need to die. And hide my soul. It's just you, pretenders from the doctors and bankers. Some things I'd rather fit for my protection in hell.
To the next release that you put out, it wasn't the anti-sheeple movement. It was Trashy P versus Bob Sheeple.
Yeah. So we met these dudes from South Bay, which isn't the Bay. It's like south. It's south of South Los Angeles. But we met these dudes named Fun Abuse, and we thought their music was rad as shit. They thought our music was rad as shit. So we just immediately clicked, and we were hanging out together for a really fucking long time. And we were talking about doing this split where we're gonna do like an acoustic thing and then an electric thing. And it was in the talks for like quite some time before we were actually like, okay, we're fucking doing this. So yeah, I remember for that one. Jay came over with a 4-track mixer, and he had started doing the henchman cover on it, and he's like, dude, I need you to finish this, like take this with you, and then just handed it off to me and then bounced, and I was like, all right, I got you, dude. So that's how that track came to be. That was a fun one.
That was a great. Yours truly, a fucking great cover.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, yeah. So, and that was
Down the street and I'm just so disgraceful. This gambling apparatusly color nation makes me so sick. I result to depression. Suicidal thoughts overwhelming aggression. Every big city is like a commercial. Always advertising nothing that's worth it. You make me spend money and make me hate life. Constantly contemplating homicide.
episode 1, right? And then a few months later, you put out episode 2, which was under the anti-sheeple movement title, right?
Yeah, yep, that one.
Am I getting the shit confused here?
No, you're right. You're right.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because it was kind of difficult because I was at the time too, like I was starting to do like my solo music shit as just like me as Popper, and then you know, and like also that was getting towards the time where like Leo had left the band, so things were a little bit different. It was just me, Poncho, and Angel for that album. And I remember we were going to the Lockout with Fun Abuse to jam out, and they had this super sick lockout on Jefferson, and it had like it was like a 2-story lockout pretty much. Like there was an upstairs little part, and it was just like two fucking bands. Like it was like 8, 9 of us just in there with a drum set, recording equipment everywhere, cable. Everyone's just like we're like working hard for like getting this shit out. And that was for the last track of that song. That was like the combo track. But they brought in their tracks, we brought in our tracks, and ours were just we really wanted to show that we could do electric shit. So we did covers of our own shit, but electric, because we had been playing mostly electric shows at that point.
And it was great. It was great. I mean, We the Heathens last album was an electric
Yeah,
album,
exactly.
And
Yeah.
that might have been my favorite release they put out.
Damn. Bold words. I
Those are
respect it though.
bold words. Those are.
I respect it though.
I think I've actually told Elliot that.
Got my own filth that you can't handle. Wax on my floor that's lit from my candles. She's still hot 'cause I'm trying to get caught on the heat at the moment. Sorry about the bugs, but I see the doors open. Gotta air out the stench of the scouts from us when I peeked and passed out. When I cleaned it up, but I couldn't find the napkins. Couldn't find the bags for the verses I'd be trapping. Strapped and armed with ninja stars. Ran my van into your cars. All drinking out while you pay for bars. And flows on the house, I don't know recharge. Before I leave, please don't forget. This next question might make you upset. Fuck it all, us no regrets. Do you have a cigarette?
And then you started putting out, like you said, shit under just your name, Popper. You have one release in May called of 2020 called "I Love You, Game Over,"
Mm-hmm.
and then later
That was a fun one. That was probably like the last like big thing that I think I released. But that was when I started playing with the Game Boy.
yeah, that was fun. That was fun. Right. Very chiptune-y. Very, it was nice. It was nice. I dug it. Like
Thank you.
I like your incorporation of everything. You just amalgamate it all into one thing that is yours. That is yours, and it's unique, and I fucking love it.
Thank you, man.
So and you have one more release that AJJ cover. Have you not put anything else out since then? You just been too busy working?
Yeah, mostly busy working, and also like I want to start a band. I don't really want to do the solo thing, and it's kind of hard because it's really hard to find people who are into the same kind of music and doing things like that. Um, so it's been kind of tricky, and also like I did move to Philadelphia for like a year and a half to 2 years. So like and when I went over there, same thing, always worked, but it's also I don't know anybody out there. And I just moved back down to SoCal last year and immediately started working again. So I'm like, okay, but I'm like in the rhythm. I'm actually talking to my homie from a band that I was in a long time ago called Los Barachos. He used to be the drummer. Super fucking flaming arms of chaos. But me and him are thinking about starting kind of another ska, pop punk, angry. I don't know what, because we're still talking in the mix and like figuring out our sound. But there's something to come. I've just been waiting for the right people to jam out with or work on this shit. But I got a bunch of stuff that I'm like already kind of written, like lots of recordings, dude. Just need the right crowd and the right group of people to help me make it happen because I only got 2 arms and 2 feet, and those are normally using instruments and bells.
Word, word. Uh, I got a question. You have a bunch of a bunch of different aliases that you go
Yeah,
by. Uh, so like the sheep face killer, we got Mario Speedwagon, which is my one of my fucking favorites. Mario
that was a gift.
Speedwagon.
That was a gift from Trevor. Thanks.
Yeah, the Illsbury Flow Boy, right? That's some good
that
stuff,
that
right?
yeah.
So each time you take embrace one of these aliases, do you play a different genre of music as you're going about it, or
Well,
is it just the
absolutely. I
same?
was absolutely all right. Like Popper is who I am. All right. Sheepface Killer. He's like the bandit of the TASM universe. Realistically, he's an MC. He wears a mask. It looks a little sketchy. He's onto some shit. Um, Mario Speedwagon is pretty much like everybody's dad. Like he's got some knowledge. Maybe not. He's wise, but he's not smart.
Yeah, he'll bust
Type
out
of
some
guy.
yacht rock.
Yeah.
That's
um,
amazing.
and Illsbury Flowboy is just like the absolute sickest MC on the top of the earth. Like he's the one who fought. He's the one who verbalized God. That wasn't Popper. That's Illsbury Flowboy. That's God versus bars right there.
Word, word.
Yeah, dude, I play the fuck out of accordion. Like it is absolutely.